I'm here to tell you the rejection is your best friend in business. Hear me out, hear me out. I'm Tiffany Garside, co-founder of Black Educators Amplified, founder of Tiffy G Writes, a bespoke international real estate and finance marketing firm, serving over 230 different clients across various industries, mainly e-commerce, finance, and real estate, as well as business advisors. But back to the topic. Rejection is your unfair advantage. Let me break this down. When I first started out as a marketing consultant, I was sitting on my couch writing blogs while I watched the cooking channel, okay? And sometimes I would even write them in the notes section of my phone. I would go through the draft process, create the outline, create all of the storylines, publish the blogs for either my website or for the firms that I was working for, the different marketing agencies in real estate and finance and the food industry, a lot of different industries, okay? But if I didn't face some of the rejection that I faced in those first few years of business, my skin wouldn't have been thick enough to get to the point that I am now in business, being that I've been in business for 9 years in Tiffy G Writes, okay? And this is why I say rejection is actually secretly your best friend. Now, one of the revenue generating activities that you need to be aware of, and one of the formulas for success, especially as it relates to sales engineering, especially when we're talking about high ticket sales, as Black Educators Amplified, our 8-week accelerator, we deal with high ticket sales, selling offers that are over $1,000. What does that actually look like? Well, it involves a lot of storytelling. It involves data analysis, and it involves you being confident in creating content about the 2 C's. Content equals cash. Understand that. Write that down 10 times, okay, ma'am, sir? But also, let me give you this formula. This is a formula for how you can repeat and replicate sales in your business over and over. You're going to know based on your conversion rates, the average industry conversion rate across any industry is usually about 20% conversions. You can check that out for your specific industry, but in general, you're going to see about 20% conversions. That means if 10 people come to you and book a call, view a sales page, view your website, you know about 20% of those people are going to convert. Now, it's better if you can optimize and refine your marketing strategy. Again, cross out marketing. Marketing is simply education and strategic storytelling, okay? Positioning, journalism in your marketing, journalism in your writing, so that you don't sound like a robot, but you sound like the professional that you actually are. You can use this formula and say, okay, if I get 5 no's, then that means I'm right around the corner from a yes. If I get 3 no's and then a yes, that means I'm already ahead of the game and I'm increasing my conversion rates. You see that? These are some of the formulas that we teach inside of Black Educators Amplified. And these are formulas that corporate marketing companies use, okay? After sitting in boardroom marketing meetings, from the comfort of my previous home in Tanzania, I would sit in boardroom marketing meetings with people who were generating over 800 million in revenue per year for these large firms, and they use these formulas. These formulas have to be used because you need to have a strategic cadence or some type of indicator of when you'll have success in your business, how much revenue is going to come through the door, how you'll be able to have your growth projections, okay? This is essential. And this is why I want you to get used to rejection, because the reality is you cannot future think and be a visionary without being okay with rejection. Visionaries are okay with rejection. We actually race to get rejected. We really do. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but seriously, visionaries, entrepreneurs, we go to get rejected as soon as possible because we're checking the check marks off the box. If I get 4 no's, I know the next one statistically from a probability standpoint is probably going to be yes. If I get 2 no's, I'm a bit closer to a yes. For you starting out, you may encounter more no's up front because you don't yet have your portfolio website, you don't have an email list, you don't have a podcast yet, you don't have a YouTube channel, you don't have all of the things. Maybe you just have your LLC and your expertise, which is enough. I'm here to tell you that it's more than enough to start, okay? Your expertise, your LLC, your work experience, you have more than enough. But you're going to have to put on this new identity and this new mindset because your old identity has got you to where you are right now. And if you're really trying to change your trajectory, leave a better lineage, leave a better legacy for your lineage, then you're going to have to understand, hey, I'm going to have to do something different about the way I think. I'm going to have to shift my identity into something else and become a more elevated and sophisticated version of myself. And in a sense, that can be a grieving process. You're like, oh, I just lost this person I used to be. Okay? That's a grief process. That takes you through the 5 to 6 steps of grieving, where you have that shock, where you're trying to sit with the emotions, where you're going through the emotions and you have regret. And then you need to be more accountable to your feelings. And then you're like, well, I have a little bit of nostalgia. And you're just going through this whole wave of different feelings of grief while you grieve the previous person that you were. But I promise you, on the other side of you becoming the more elevated and sophisticated version of you and making decisions in that identity now, before you reach the success that you want to have, I'm going to repeat that. You need to put on this more sophisticated identity of yourself today, right now. As you're watching this video, take out a journal, talk to your future self. I love journaling. I'm a writer at heart, okay? Ever since I was a little girl, I would journal like nonstop, and I have not stopped to this day with journaling. And I do have to credit journaling and prayer for how far I've come as an entrepreneur, being able to succeed specifically in this main area of focus, which is strategic communications, over 9 years, okay? And so take out your journal and start to envision, okay, who am I going to be in the next 2 years? Who am I in 5 years? And then write a letter to yourself, your previous self, from your future self 5 years from now. Write that letter. What have you accomplished? Where are you living? What does it smell like? What are you overlooking? Maybe you're overlooking a balcony in Mauritius. Maybe you live in Botswana. Maybe you live in South Africa. Or maybe you travel. Maybe you travel from, you travel from Kenya to Thailand, then maybe you go to Ghana and you go to Dubai because you had hit up their golden visa. What does that life look like for you? Who have you hired in your business? Maybe you've hired an executive assistant. Again, we're doing visionary brainstorming, okay? And I know that side of you that wants to be doubtful and fear-based is like, don't envision too much. Don't be too positive. Don't be too much of a dreamer, because what if? But I'm here to tell you, push what if aside. We don't want to hear what if. Nobody cares about what if anymore. Push it aside. If you got to physically push it aside, then do that and say, you know what? I'm going to dream. I'm going to plan. I'm going to write the vision and make it plain. And just let it be that. Just write. Like, just force yourself to write. It's literally that simple. And that's literally the power of writing. That's step one for you to change your identity from who you are right now that has gotten you to this place where you have your LLC, you have your business idea, you've maybe taken some courses that were, $100, $200, $500, those very entry level beginner courses that, kind of got your feet wet, but weren't really the real deal with accountability, didn't provide a full on transformation for you just yet, but nonetheless did help you get where you are, because everybody has to start somewhere. But when you're ready to be an accountable CEO and put on the CEO mindset, you have to start thinking like the person that you are ready to become. So start writing that in your journal. I'm going to give you some time. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video. Now, after you face that and are not afraid of rejection, you're not letting any fears hold you back, we need to also talk about burnout and energy conservation. I have a phenomenal story for you. Going through it at the time was not phenomenal. I'll be honest with you. It was wild, okay? So the year is 2020. Let's zoom back for a moment, okay? We're going to go back in my memory. The year is 2020. I land in Tanzania with my wonderful family. We only had 3 children at that time. Now we have 5 children in 2025, okay? But in 2020, we had 3 children. We landed in Tanzania. We met so many people. There were so many, events and all these things and this and that. But I did a horrible job at energy conservation. I was about 5 years into Tiffy G Rights at the time, okay? And so I was like a middle entrepreneur, mid-senior level type of deal, middle entrepreneur. And I knew my niche, I knew my industry, I knew what it is that I wanted to do, and I served my clients. We were completely booked out, also experiencing our first $12,000 month in 2020, okay? It was actually in September, was it August? It was either August or September of 2020. And so, we landed in a new place. It's phenomenal, it's exciting, it's all the things, but here's where it gets a little dicey. Me knowing my own personality type, and this is why you have to know yourself for yourself. Don't do what seems popular. Don't do what seems trendy. Do what your mental capacity and your personality and what you've been divinely placed to do aligns with. Always stay in alignment. My husband and I were talking a few lives ago about racing in track and field. We both ran track. He did 400s, 200s, 100s, 100, 200, 100 hurdles and relays, okay? Racing in track, you snap your legs, you got to get over that hurdle super quick, okay? So that's the rejection, the barrier that you literally, when you're doing hurdles, you snap, push down, you jump, and you're good. You just keep going. And you keep going over the hurdle, keep going over the hurdle. But for you to be successful in track, they coach you and teach you and tell you while you're running, do not look back. Do not look to the left. Do not look to the right. It does not matter what race it's in. Your coach is going to tell you this in every single race and remind you, do not look to the side because it's going to slow you down. And I remember hearing this from a coach, from my track coach in high school, and thinking, but it's just looking, can going like this really mess me up? Can doing that actually mess up what I'm doing? But still being able to say, you know what? My coach isn't going to lead me wrong. He's gotten me to where I am this far. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to be obedient to what he says. And, for many years in track and field, we would get the top 1 to 3 positions. Our girls' relay team was in the top positions. And it was like, we didn't have to have all the answers. We would just listen to the coach, the consultant, because at the end of the day, he was 20 years into coaching in girls track and field for that Bexley school district, okay? Shout out to Coach Snyder. I don't even know if he's still alive. But he was 20 years into the game. And so you come to the conclusion like, okay, let me just be obedient so we can win. Let me just not question authority. Let me just be obedient so we can win. And you start to realize, oh, it really can cost you if you look the other way. Just a simple going like this, going like that, it can cost you big time. And I can guarantee it will cost you big time in business, because business is also a marathon. Business is a race, but you're not racing other people. You're racing your previous self. You are the only competition that you have, because you're the only unique person on the face of the earth that is like you and that has your unique experiences. Again, here's another example. I was writing a blog earlier. Check it out at the link in the description. I'm so happy because I have not been able to publish a blog on my website in 4 months. And if any of y'all have been watching this channel for some time, I'm a writer. I have blogged just about every month since 2016 on my website. And so when I missed 4 months, it was a little irritating, okay? But we're back up and running with the blog. Check out the blog. It's the best one that I've created to date, hands down. And it's about email marketing and neuroscience. But you may say, how do email marketing and neuroscience go together? Well, let me tell you. I worked in Children's Hospital at the age of 18 to about 21, 22. Okay? It was my dream job back then. I literally prayed for it, and I applied to 3 different floors in Children's Hospital. I was rejected 2 times, okay? 18 years old. I had a lot of tenacity, a lot of grit, and a lot of that probably came from the sports I did, because in sports, you just don't give up. You keep going, okay? And so I applied a 3rd time, and it was to a floor that I wasn't necessarily interested in. I wanted to do something cool like ER. I wanted to do something cool like mental health. I'm big on psychology and mental health. So I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. Denied for both of those. I'm like, oh, that's not fun. Okay. But I didn't stop. I continued applying. I applied a 3rd time to the only position on the floor that was open, the patient care assistant on floor 9, the neuroscience floor in Nationwide Children's Hospital. In Columbus, Ohio. I get a call back and I'm employed, okay? Like quick. I was like, oh, grateful, worshiping the Most High. I was so happy. I was so livid. And I began to learn on neuroscience how important psychology is, how important intentionality is, how important our brains are. And so I bring that perspective, having that being one of my longest, probably the longest job I ever had before leaving healthcare to start my business. Nationwide Children's Hospital was the longest job I ever had. 5 years, okay? Fresh out of high school, youngest one on the floor, okay? Because typically, young teenagers wouldn't be qualified for that position. But mind you, I went to a career center for medical terminology, for medical training, for nurse assisting. And so I was able to get a state tested nursing assistant license at the age of 16. So my career trajectory was short-lined, and I was able to basically catapult and work with people who were in their 28s, 29s, 30s. I was by far the youngest one, okay? And your girl was a teen mom. So your girl, I have some drive, I'll tell you that. And so I'm on the neuroscience floor. And, eventually I decide to leave neuroscience altogether because I start to realize, I love the 12-hour shifts. They're fantastic. I love that I can work 36 hours a week and not work 40 hours a week. I love the pay. I got paid very well, very, very good right out the gate. Because again, it's a Nationwide Children's Hospital and it's a specialized floor. I'm on the neuroscience floor, meaning we only see patients who either have seizures, have sleep apnea, or have suffered some kind of detrimental brain trauma, typically from a parent, very sad, or a caregiver, okay? That's why I'm so big on just watching my children myself. I'm not gonna get into that in this video. But yeah, so that's the background with psychology and neuroscience. And I thought recently about how much I infuse psychology, medical terminology, and the elevation of patient care into my marketing, okay? Why my marketing and why my communication strategy is so focused on the actual care of the holistic person, the actual storylines that the holistic person cares about, not just, shoot something up there that's AI written, who this is for, who it's not for, just boom and done, but actually caring about the storylines. Like, can we create a story that will help people remember this website? Can we create a story that's going to help you remember this brand for ages to come? Can we create a story and a program that's going to dramatically shift your life from the inside out? A lot of that is due to my beginnings in neuroscience, but had I not had that 5-year beginning in neuroscience, had I not been to school for psychology and nursing, then I wouldn't bring this approach to marketing, because in the marketing world, this is rare, let me tell you. If you try to look for a marketing consultant right now, you're not gonna find anybody that's even remotely close to what I teach and what I do, because nobody has my life experience, okay? And it's the same for you as an education consultant. Whether you are an English teacher, an English tutor, somebody that's creating a workshop, if you are an engineer, if you're an electrician, if you're a relocation specialist, if you are a massage therapist, if you're a functional medicine provider, if you're a nurse practitioner, or any type of other education consultant, your expertise needs to be heard. I know that you're like, sis, but this, but that. Stop the but. It's a period. Your expertise needs to be heard, not a comma. It's a period. Grammar, okay? Period. Your expertise needs to be heard. And part of your expertise is you sharing your story and your journey. But if you're unwilling to share your story and your journey, and you want to prostitute and pimp your message to AI, and you're willing to just let anybody take your message and run with it, then how are people actually going to be able to connect to the core of who you are? How will people ever feel motivated and inspired enough to work with you long term, right? This is the idea of fleeting success versus sustainable success, okay? And I was thinking about this earlier in a mastermind I did with my business coach. And I want to tell you about this specific business coach because we've worked together. I've purchased from her about 5 times in the last 5 years. Okay. 5 times in the last 5 years. You may say, why don't you give another business coach a try, or another consultant, or another strategy? And I've come to the realization that we've had so much success in our business and in our firm and in helping our clients to reach the heights they've reached. Check out the blogs down below. You're going to see some case studies But we've been able to reach that level because we're so focused. Like, we don't divert, we don't dilute, we don't water down what we do. What we do is very niche, it's very specific, it's for the minimum viable market. It's not for the masses. It's not. It's only for a few people that get it, right? It's only for the minimum amount of people in the market, meaning, especially as a new entrepreneur, if you don't have a platform, I didn't used to have a platform. This YouTube channel did not exist prior to 2019, but Tiffy G Writes did, okay? My social media was hacked in 2022. I was at 6,000 followers. I had to start over. I'll talk about that on my Instagram. So you're gonna have to go to Instagram at Tiffy G Writes to see that recent reel I did on how I was hacked and what I did. But my message has stood the test of time, even being hacked, even being in burnout, which was the story that I was getting to. Let me talk about the burnout story. Again, this was 2020. We landed, we had a team. We had hired some fabulous contractors in the States. 2 contractors. One was a content writer that we were training and paying to become a copywriter. We were getting the copy together. You have to work with employees and train them. That is a capital heavy investment, because at any given time, your employee is typically only going to be able to put out about 50 to 60% of the output that you're able to put out yourself, because you're you and nobody can be you. So you have to have some patience with that. But we reached this super tall height in business. We're hitting 12K consistently in revenue. We're really like, the business is exploding. Like, just months before doing a mentorship, we were stuck at 2K, 3K, 4K consistently. It was like, what do I do? What do I do? Okay. But we landed, figured all that out, met a lot of people, and just got distracted. Our message got diluted. Our personalities got diluted. We were hearing too many voices. We were doing too many things. We were in too many places, meeting so-and-so, doing this, hiring this person, then hire this person because it looks good, or you think that's what you should do. When you're blossoming as an entrepreneur, just hire everybody. Find everybody you can hire them all. And that was the biggest mistake. I shut down the business for 4 months, and I had the cash reserves to do it. I shut it down for 4 months. I did not post on Instagram. I did not write any blogs. I did not market my business. I didn't. I was burnt out to the max because I was not doing energy preservation. I was not clear on my policies. I was not clear on what I wanted out of my business. I was making my business only available to other people. But guess what? I run the business, and so this has to be a 50-50. Right? I was not clear on setting firm boundaries. I was taking too many claws. I was a yes woman saying yes to everybody. And it literally, I could not do it. Like, I could not function. I really couldn't. And I'm an introvert. So like, when I'm around too many people, too many voices, too many things, like, I shut down. I shut the business down. I was like, this is too much. And it sounds like a good problem to have. You shut the business down because you're too successful. Except the policies, the boundaries. And we had the right operational structure. We had the right 1099s coming in, fabulous contractors. We had all of that. But the business model was perfect for maybe agencies. And I'm not an agency. I'm a creative copywriting firm. I'm an advisory, but I'm not an agency. I'm a one-to-one advisor, meaning I work with high caliber clients one-to-one, but I do not hire tens of people. I don't hire 5 to 10s of people. I don't manage teams like that unless I'm contracted to do that just for a season, because that's not in alignment with how the Most High created me to be. And I know that. And so this is why I'm saying you have to get in alignment and choose your business model based on your capacity and based on your alignment. Because if you try to do what looks right or what somebody else's business coach is doing, and all the folks on social media say, if you don't hire a full-time employee and all this, that is all nonsense, okay? Because there are thousands of different business models out there. And one of the ones we teach in Black Educators Amplified is that you can create your curriculum based off of your expertise, meaning your standard operating procedures, your curriculum, your contracts, all of that content that you can create and accumulate can stand on its own, okay? That's better than an employee, because now I have an asset that I've created that does not lose revenue. I have a digital asset in my business. When I say digital asset, people sell online businesses for multi-millions of dollars. I've seen it. There are freelance writing mentors and coaches that I started out with. They have since exited their companies, sold it off, cashed in, and now they probably living on an island somewhere. Now I'm already living on an island somewhere, but they're like not working. They sold it off. And so these are the steps of like build an online business, create an exit strategy, do it based on your business model and your capacity. If you know you're an introvert, if you know you're a mom of 5 children, I'm a mom of 5 children and a wife. If you know you have all of these things that you also have to be accountable for, then build your business around your life. But don't let social media drag you down and drag you into doing things that you were never in alignment to do in the first place, okay? And don't do that to yourself either, because we do that to ourselves as entrepreneurs as well. We'll be like, okay, well, I need to be like Walmart. And it's like, actually, you don't need to be like Walmart. You could just be the wealthy advisor that works with a few bespoke clients after you get your portfolio up and call it a day. And then sometimes you mentor people, or you may allow people to come in the program at a discount, or you may, train up some other writers for a season, but maybe you don't want to be in charge of all those people because you already got to be in charge of your children. Okay? And that's all right. You can grow a business like that. You can grow sustainably. I've seen it time and time again. My mentor, she went through the same thing, but she went through it later. Okay? She went through it about last year. She closed down her entire business. I said, where's she at? I said, girl, you done closed down. But it's real, like it's relatable. It's like, yeah, I went through that in 2020. Because you scale so fast, you have so much success. Everybody's like, help me, help me, help me. And you're like, girl, I can't help. Do you know how many messages I have in my inbox saying, help me, help me, help me? Do you know that my website is operating in like 14, 15 different countries at any given time? Meaning, I just looked at the analytics today. People from Sweden, South Africa, Israel, Greece, Mauritius, Kenya, Tanzania, people all over the globe are looking at the website at any given time. And a lot of times you're the only person that can provide those safe boundaries for yourself. So manage your energy, or work with an advisor who can help you see those gaps in managing your energy, because burnout is just a symptom of mismanaged energy. Meaning, I had to put application processes in place. I had to put qualified prospect procedures in place, meaning unless you fill out the form the way I instructed you to do so, you won't even get on a call. Like, if you fill out the form and it's just like not really there, you're not really serious, then I'm not going to seriously take you on a call, because we're already serving so many clients. And so we have to provide this sacred space of capacity to still give them 110%, run our business 110%, and market the business 110%. That's why you have to have policies and procedures in place to qualify clients. This is also where your website messaging and your website copy comes in. If you are generating clients that are not perfect fits, guess what? Be accountable. That's on you, based on the way that you wrote or did not write the copy if you had AI generated. It's plain and simple. You teach people how to interact with you. That's like a saying that people just use for everyday life, but it also applies in business. Based on the way that you create your messaging and you create your marketing, the way you have your website written, you teach people how to interact with you. You attract the people based on the messaging that you're putting out there, okay? And this is why we are very much unafraid to qualify and to kind of close the gate and to slowly work with people and see, are you really the right fit for this program? Are we really even the right fit for you? Alignment is so important, because fast money is cute, but stressful. I'll tell you, I've been there, did that. It's stressful as heck. Okay, this is coming from a 29-year-old, 9-year entrepreneur, okay, that has surpassed multi-six figures in business consistently and lives in Mauritius, has lived in Tanzania, has traveled to Kenya, has traveled to Zambia, has keynote speaking engagements that have happened in Israel, like literally global entrepreneur. This is coming, this is your sister coming to you. Like, don't grow too fast without the right advocates and help. Don't grow too fast and mismanage your energy. Meaning, I know that a few times a week I need to take a long walk through my neighborhood. I have a swimming pool. I take swims maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I drink matcha tea. I stretch. I do flips with my daughter because my daughter loves to do flips, and we do flips together. Okay. And that's getting in alignment for my lifestyle, for my family, and then secondly, for my business. Okay. And so if that resonates with you, hit the like button, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and you should binge the Black Educators Amplified playlist because it's the most lit marketing playlist of all time. Like, you're not gonna find nothing out there like it. I promise you that. You can try and do try. I encourage you to. But the Black Educators Amplified playlist is truly one of a kind. Again, due to our bespoke experience across different industries, across various continents, across various cultures, it's all culminated into this wonderful experience. And the next cohort is April 27th. At 2 p.m. Eastern. It goes for 8 weeks as always. Cohort number 6, okay, of Black Educators Amplified. But I have the Black Educators Amplified playlist, and I have 2 blogs for you. I want you to read the Black Educators Amplified Year in Review to get an in-depth look at the clients that we have served in Black Educators Amplified. It's going to also divert you to an agency case study. Then I want you to read the recent blog that I wrote on the state of email marketing and neuroscience, so you can understand the psychology and philosophy that we use in the program and we use in our digital marketing agency, to where we've been able to successfully sustain 63% returns year on year average. Again, our business is our best investment vehicle, hands down. You hear a lot of things. We hedge our investments with stocks and crypto. We hedge our investments with gold. But when it comes down to the best investment that gets the most revenue generation back, it's our business, hands down, hands down. So I encourage you to check that out. I encourage you to be blessed. I encourage you to go back and listen to this video. It's pretty long. It's going to be about 32 minutes. Go back and do the workshop that I told you to do. If you're serious about really changing your trajectory and where you're going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, or where you could be in the next 6 months, to be quite honest, it doesn't take long, but it takes action and obedience. Let me go back to the track and field analogy again. Remember, I was telling you we used to run track. You got to stay informed. Track, if you're running like this, you're going to lose. If you're looking to the side, you're going to lose. You have to stay informed every step of the way. Snap down, pick back up. Snap down, pick back up, okay? You have to stay in that form. And business is the same way. You have to stay focused. You have to stay in your form. You need to stay in your lane. And whatever you do, you need to do it exceedingly well. And you need to talk about it confidently, fearlessly. You need to take up space. Like, if you're someone, you're like, oh, I don't want to take up space. Take up space. I'm giving you permission. Take up all the space that you need. You can see with my blowout today, I'm taking up space. Take up the space. Take up the space that needs to be taken up, because people need to hear your perspective. And what happens if you never share your perspective? What happens if you don't solve problems for the hundreds and thousands of clients that need you? What happens when you're too afraid? Well, a few things happen. You're not going to be a happy person. You're going to be retired at some point, looking back at what if, why didn't I do that? It'll be your biggest regret in life, not taking your business seriously. Number 2, you're going to look back and say, I wasted so much money on vacations, entertainment, beer, wine. I wasted so much money on vanity, and I never really invested in myself and my business and my legacy. Another thing, maybe you have children, nieces and nephews. You have a real opportunity to hand down, not debt. We don't want to hand down debt to our children. That's not a good feeling. You want to hand down functional businesses, curriculum, property. You want to hand down stuff where it's like, oh, mom and dad cared, right? Like, mom and dad cared about us. They cared about what they were doing. They cared about building a legacy for us so that we wouldn't have to start from ground zero. It's not fair in our community that we allow our children to start from ground zero. It's just completely unfair. And so if you're someone that believes in building wealth, building legacy for the next generation, Black Educators Amplified is probably ideal for you, but you should check out the enrollment page to see if it really is. Like, check it out, read it. Please read every line to make sure it's really for you, and make sure that you're available to mentally be obedient, because it does not serve you if you sign up for a course, but then you're half in, half out. You sign up for a course, but you're like, oh, I'm not really going to do the work. The work has to be done. Nobody can do the work for you. This is your business. We advise you, we help you, we critique you, we write some of your website copy for you. We write your 3 to 6 month content marketing calendar so you know the action steps to take for the next 6 months. But at the end of the day, unless you're posting that content, remember the 2 C's, content and cash are closely related. Unless you're if you're not posting content, you're not generating cash. I'm sorry. That's just reality. Unless you're hitting those touch points in your business, you're not having sales conversations. Unless you're speaking to people, it doesn't have to be at a networking event. It can be online via video, via podcast, via email, via blog writing. But unless you're doing those steps, your business is staying stagnant. You're staying stagnant. And I don't want that to be the legacy that you live. I don't want that to be the life that you live. And if it has been up to a point, it's okay. There's grace for that. Give yourself a hug. It's all good. But put on your boots, put on your whatever you need to put on, and truly be who you need to be. Because these are recession times. These are global trade war times. And I just want to leave you with one thing. I keep saying I'm going to end, but these things keep coming to my mind. In 2020, there was a massive pandemic everybody can remember, and it would have been a quote unquote recession. All these businesses closed down. And Tiffy G writes, in 2020, that was our most explosive year in business. 2025 is going to be the same way. How do I know? Because businesses that are intentional and invest in their messaging and actually critique and do what they say they are going to do and care about the message they put out. They don't prostitute it to AI. They don't just say, let me just slap something up there and hopefully somebody will buy it. No, you really have to care about your clients. You have to care about the products that you bring to the market. You have to care about the programs and the accelerators you create. You have to care. You have to do things intentionally. Intentionality goes into everything you do. And even the scriptures tell us, whatever is not done in faith, don't do it. Only do things in faith. Do things to the fullness, to the diligence of the Most High, in a spirit of excellence. And that, on that number one part, has to be your message. Because without a message in business, you're not in business, you're in hobby. Hobbies are fine, but in a recession, you could be winning big. You could see 63% returns on your business in the next 90 days, 120 days, because this is recession time. I was getting excited earlier. I'm probably going to do a video about this tomorrow. Like, I'm so excited about the recession. I honestly am. One, because scriptures say that the righteous will eat in a famine. Number two, because I remember the last time we had a pandemic, a recession, a world chaos, our business exploded. Education consultants, stand up. You're about to come into the most explosive season, but you have to step into it. You have to do the work. Shalom, shalom. I'm going to see you next time. Have a good day.